we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. I saw a meme the other day that said, well, 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 if it isn't the bridge I said I would cross when I came to it. So it's Sunday. The quilt shop is closed today, and I got to come in and sew all by myself, which, I mean, it doesn't get better than that. In a quilt shop on the bay by yourself. But I bought this pattern. I actually have another one that I bought one of the other times I came. Of course, I didn't ever start that one, but that's not going to prevent me from getting another one. And actually, I am planning on starting this one. So I have my fabric. My goal is to put this together, like baste it together so that the hard part is done, like that cutting and basting and prepping is done so that I can take it with me and just get to work on it and get started doing the actual sewing. I love hand sewing, but a lot of times if I'm on the road, I want to crochet or knit or tat. But in this case, I'm gonna get this quilt ready and then I'll have it. And I think it'll be a pretty good travel project because even though it's a lot of fabric, it's pretty like self-contained. I won't have to, you know, drag out lots of pieces or anything like that. Like it's gonna be just one large piece of fabric that I can just sew on and fold as needed. So these are my colors. I just thought they were fun and bright, and this is more of a project than a product. So like, I don't even care what comes out of it. I just like the process. I just like hand sewing. I like having a project on hand. So that's what this is about. So again, this is my pattern. It's going to be 84 by 84. So it's large, which I'm okay with and I love. And I think it'll actually help this fabric show a little bit better. So this will be the top fabric and this will be the underneath. So I think it'll be kind of neat, almost like the sunshine peeking through. So it is what it is. So the first thing I know I have to do is cut the fabric and piece it. I looked for a wide backing that I didn't have to piece, but I just wasn't in love with any of them. So I found batiks. So you have to cut them and piece them like you would a backing, really, since this is essentially a whole cloth quilt. So you piece it, but you don't put a seam right through the middle. You piece it so that your seams are towards the outside. So I know it's a full width, and then I split the next full width and put those on the side. So I have to do that for both of these first. And then you fold it up and do that little snowflake thing and use the pattern to cut it out, and then I think baste it all together. So let's get started. So I only need like 88 inches long. Yeah, well, 6 yards? What's 6 yards? You have my phone. Well, 72, 714, 21, 246, 216 divided by 2. I should have done that a different way. 36 and 72. 72 and 36 is 108. I think I'm supposed to use the full 6 yards because it calls for 6 yards. So I think it is allowing extra. I think. Let's see. Wash the fabric. I did that. I mean, I'm assuming it wants you to use the full 6 yards cut in two. Right, it says it here too. Buy 6 yards of fabric, so okay. Cut off selvage, press seams open. Okay, I guess 6 yards. So that's the first thing I have to do is actually measure 6 yards because I think I bought 7 just so I'd have extra. Oh, let's go to the big table. Okay, here we go. Big cutting table, that's much easier. So 6 yards, and then I divide it in half. And then divide one of those lengths in half and sew it to the sides. First job. I do not usually pre-wash my fabrics like ever anymore. Normally because one, if I'm working with the legit kit and I've got tiny little pieces of fabric, I'm not washing those. I starch them instead. So the starching kind of does the job of pre-shrinking, pre-washing. Color fastness is just not a huge issue anymore. Shrinkage really isn't even the issue it used to be, but so don't worry about it for something like a legit kit, really any other quilt I'm making. This one though, because I'm working with, two highly contrasted fabrics. One of them is really light. I'd rather not take chances. Okay, there's the first 3 yards. Okay, so I figured in this case it was worth it. I think someone's trying to get into the quilt shop today. It's closed, buddy. My extra, which will be good for binding or whatever I need. Did I get a backing for this thing? I don't think I did yet. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. I saw a meme the other day that said, well, 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 if it isn't the bridge I said I would cross when I came to it. Okay, this one gets divided in half. I'm a huge fan of tearing fabric. It's not going to hurt your fabric, and it just gives you a nice straight grain. And it's fast, because I certainly do not want to cut the 44-inch length, or no, 108-inch length with a rotary cutter. That's just too much work. Okay, so this gets sewn to that. I'll pin that up next. And then this one now, I have to count out my 3 and 3. That was 3, right? I'm pretty sure. I don't guarantee it. Okay. Here's my extra. This one gets split. Okay, I'm gonna go sew these and then get them ironed. I don't think you need to see that process. I feel like these 4 seams are the worst part of this whole quilt. Like, I'll do all the hand sewing in the world not to have to do that again. They're just long, and then you have to iron them. But I have the yellow one done already, and I'm finishing up the blue. And then you have to fold them. So I have the yellow folded already as well. And so I think you fold, then you trace the pattern on, which means I need to find some tracing paper, which I think we have some here in the shop. Okay, so let's try this. Right sides together. There's a commotion happening outside. I'm not sure what. Half again. And then this is the raw edge side. So it comes down into a triangle. So from the center pivot, it comes down into a triangle. Like this. Yes, I think so. Okay, and then you gently press these holes. And hope everything is even and correct. Ah, gentle on the bias. Okay, there's the blue pressed into place. Whoops. Due progress. Don't worry about this seam because it's just a little off. It's okay. press the yellow. Oh, I didn't press the other side of the blue. Yellow is pressed. Other side of blue. And this is not with a hot iron, it's just warm because you don't want like this permanent crease in there. That would not be fun to get all this done and have a permanent crease right down the center of your quilt. I guess worst case scenario, you would just do a quilting stitch there and hope it doesn't show. Okay, there's that. Now let's go back to the instructions and see what it says. Hello there. Okay, so instructions, fold and press, temporary, fold, okay. Leave fabrics folded until instructed to open them in later steps. The folds in the background fabric, trace the applique pattern onto another piece of paper to preserve the master pattern. Trace only the solid cutting lines, Align the center, straight edge, and bias edge of the pattern with the center, straight fold, and bias folds. If you do not, the pattern very likely will not fit on your fabric. Oh! Once they're in place, pin the pattern to the fabric to draw around it. Draw the pattern onto the applique fabric. So, did I say cut this out? Oh, because it's two-sided. So like this I think is, yikes, okay. Template A is the corner breadfruit. Is this for quilting, cutting? This is the main cutting lines, quilted lines. So I either have to trace the pattern onto the fabric or I have to trace the pattern onto a new piece of paper because it's double-sided. But I don't understand what this is. Border pattern. Oh, okay, because it's outside and then the inside. So this is the inside. So you want me, there's the medallion and then the border. Cut it. Okay, so I'm gonna put it on there, trace it, and then cut through all 8 layers. But see, this is the part I hate. Like I'm sure once I do it the first time it'll be fine, but I need to figure out the nicest way to do it the first time. Draw the pattern onto the applique fabric. Draw around the edge of the trace paper pattern. Do not add seam allowances. Those are already added. Okay. Tracing the cutting line. Do not use a ballpoint pen. Okay, so I have to get this pattern onto the fabric, period. I need to go see if we have paper or a tracing paper. I feel like tracing it onto paper might be the easiest, but the trick is big enough paper. That's the problem, isn't it? Okay, I figured something out. This fabric was in clearance, and I think it's light enough. I mean, it's light enough. I know it's light enough to see through it, so I can trace the pattern, and then I'll just put it on the fabric. And I kind of like that it'll stick to the fabric a little better than like a paper would. So I'm gonna give this a good press and then trace the pattern. Go from there. Okay, I've got my paper pattern. I've got 1 layer of my fabric. Let's see if it's light enough or if I have to take it to the window. And let me make sure straight cutting, and it has suggested, oh, I can see it really well. Yeah, I can see it really well. Can you see it really well? Let's see. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to, sorry. I'm going to trace this. I'm weighing it down with my mat because the wind is blowing, the air conditioner. I mean, I think this is all there is to it. I hope this is all there is to it. We're gonna pretend this is all there is to it. Okay, I am wondering if I want to only do the medallion right now because it's kind of got like that's not it. It's got like 3 different parts, like medallion, border, and then even this little inset. No, wait. There was another inset. So yeah, it is this little inset. So I'm wondering if I just want to do the medallion for now, especially since I'm traveling with this. Yeah, let's just do that and then I can add the rest later. Is that my last bit? I mark my center. And then this is the straight fold. Okay. Okay, did I miss anything? Leaf, leaf, leaf. Breadfruit, leaf, leaf. Bias edge, straight edge. Okay, we're going with it. So I just have to put this on the fabric and cut it out, I think. I mean, yeah, we're going with it. Okay. Here's my blue. Straightened up. Okay, I think we're okay. Oh, it's so pretty with the butterflies. Okay, so then straight. This is straight because my seam is perpendicular and this is bias. Okay. So center, bias. Okay, and it happens to be right side up. I'm going to line up my center and the edges. Okay. I really just cut this out, right? This is the medallion, so he's separate, and then I'll save the rest of it to cut later. I mean, it's on there. I will put a couple pins in because this is like waving all about because the air conditioner. Oh, and I think I'm supposed to pin through all 8 layers at this point. And I've got my good scissors. When we're done cutting this, I'll take you out and show you a breadfruit tree because breadfruit is actually my favorite leaf. It just has an amazing leaf to it. So I'll show you. There's actually one across the parking lot. Okay, here we go. Bias, straight, center. All right, and cut. All right. No going back now. It's gonna be okay. What's the worst that could happen? You know what? Worst case scenario. It's not exactly like the picture, but it'll still work. It's okay. That's the worst case scenario. That's worst case scenario, like doing this whole thing and missing a layer. Oh, that would suck. Okay, the inside corners are a little tricky, but it's gonna be okay. I don't really want to just cut off willy-nilly because I do need to preserve this, and I don't want to take the chance that like I would cut off something I need for the next layer. Well, the outside, the border, there's the word. So I do want to be careful in cutting and make sure I preserve the rest of it. I think part of the reason I never started the other one I got is because like I didn't have the room, you know? I mean, here I can spread out. I have 6 banquet tables joined together. So, I mean, I really have lots of room to work and can really spread out and give it the space it needs. And I feel like it was just harder to do that at home. So I never really got around to it. But here I felt like I can do this and get it ready for traveling. Once I get this outside done, then I can rotate the rest of it, and I think that'll make it easier. So, we actually fly out in the morning, so I'm kind of in a time crunch, but I can, once I get it cut, I can do the rest of it somewhere else. Maybe. Or I might have time to baste it real quick. How do we baste it? Do we actually baste it to the background? Baste. You pin it all together and then you baste it. Okay. So that's not too bad. Once it's cut, I can do that. I must be watching a game somewhere outside because I keep hearing cheering and commotion. So this is the rest that will become the border. So I'm going to pin this in a couple places, just so nothing shifts in transit. And we'll use this another day. Ooh, I just got hungry. Okay. And then, now I can kind of rotate this. I think that's going to help a lot. Whatever you do, make sure you're using good scissors, because this is 8 layers of fabric with intricate cuts. So really nice, sharp, with a sharp tip. You really couldn't use something with like a rounded tip. Sharp tip, because I'm supposed to be packing up. What I do like about this is at least it's like an organic design. So I've talked before about, you know, if you're new to especially free motion quilting, do something organic. It's not consistent. It doesn't have to be absolutely perfect. So I do like that this is an organic element. So even if my leaves don't all turn out the same, well, they wouldn't be all the same on the tree either. So it's okay. When I was sewing the blue strips together, the whole piece, I did use a really short stitch length. When I was sewing the yellow together, I wasn't as worried, but with the blue, I used a short stitch length because I knew I'd be cutting it. So where I wanted the seams to not come apart wherever I had to piece it together, wherever you cut it. Hopefully that serves me well in the future. see. So the last few times we've come to Hawaii, I have heard that you can take pineapples back home with you. Like, you can't take seeds, nuts, fruit. On the way here, they send a questionnaire through the airplane, and each household has to fill it out to make sure that you're declaring anything you're bringing. Not even declaring, that you're declaring that you're not bringing anything. So nothing growable, nothing produce-wise, nothing like that. But what I've heard or read is that you can bring pineapples. Certain airlines even allow them as a free checked item. So like if you have a box of pineapples, that's one of your checked items, free of charge. I think Alaska Airlines is the one that does that. Southwest, you already get like 2 free checked bags. So, although in my case, I'm not going to check my pineapples because I'm going to use them as my carry-on, because I don't want my pineapples being abused and thrown around. My clothes can be abused and thrown around. My pineapples will be my carry-on that I will carry gingerly with me through the airports. So the trick is you do have to get them inspected at the airport. So there is an agriculture inspection. So I don't know how strict it is. I mean, I think they're just looking for bugs and fungus and that kind of thing. So you don't take anything with you to the mainland, but I'm going to try it. So I'm going to the store tonight. I'm going to get my pineapples. I'm going to put them in my carry-on suitcase and then take them to the airport with me. And what we've decided to do is Karen is going to drop us off like she normally does, but she's going to wait around so that if something happens and my pineapples do not pass inspection, she can take them home with her and have some nice pineapples. So that way nothing goes to waste, because I would hate for that to happen. I don't even think it's that hard to pass inspection. But again, I don't know. I've never tried. So that's the plan, and hopefully it'll work. But we'll know in the morning. Because I've wanted to do it before, but normally our flights fly out at night. So like you're leaving the island at like 10 p.m. and the agriculture desk is usually closed. I think I've only seen someone there once. So this time we have a morning flight. We have a 9 a.m. flight. So I'm really hoping that bodes well for the agriculture inspection desk actually being open, but we'll see. But at least we have a plan. And we had a pineapple yesterday that was just the most delicious thing ever. So I thought I really want to bring them back with me, because we've got like 10 inches of snow in Indiana right now. So I will be happy to have pineapple at home. And maybe share with some friends. Maybe. We'll see. But hopefully they will make it through inspection. That's the first step. I am so close. Just a couple more leads. I really like using fabric, as it turns out, because it does stick pretty nicely to the appliqué fabric. So I think that's actually a good idea. I think if you're using paper, you're supposed to trace it and then take the paper off, because cutting through paper would be a huge pain, but I don't want to do that. Okay, so I don't know if I'm supposed to unpin this or not. I don't think I am really. Let me see if I can get this at least like sandwiched to the top, or in place on. I'm supposed to open. Okay, unfold the background fabric. Unfold it. Okay, so it's right sides in right now. So I have to unfold this to get, like, so I can see where all those folds and creases are. And then I place, okay, I can see the creases okay. Let me see if I can get you a better view. Oh, well, you're crooked, but I'm not moving it because I got it up there. Okay, so let me make sure I do this right, because it says place the applique, pins facing up, remove the pins, but leave the applique folded for now. Align the center, straight folds, and bias folds of the applique fabric onto the folds of the background fabric. Notice that the bias fold has more bulk than the straight fold, so position the bias fold of the applique slightly inside the bias fold. Okay, I can do this. Here we go. So I'm going to do this. It is definitely right side up. That was to pin it on the back. And then, my God, I made a mess. I've made a mess. Okay, but here is the bias and the straight, and pick a wedge. Okay, okay, we're getting there. And let me get this all unpinned maybe. Pin that together, but I'll just get the template off of there. Okay. Ah. No, okay, it's gonna be right sides up because it is right sides in right now. Okay, so in the center there, and along the bias fold there, and make sure it's nice and straight, no ripples, no pulling, don't want any of that. Nice and straight along the fold. My God, this is gonna take me forever, but it'll be worth it. It'll be worth it. It's just gonna be the rest of my life is all. Okay. Okay. So then it says pin the bottom layer, and then you can start to open this out. I want to show it to you real quick. Get it all straightened out. Okay, I'm off the table, so I'll have to. Let's see, can I move this gently? There we go. Gently. Very gently. Okay. I'm really liking these colors now that they're kind of sandwiched together. All fit in there nicely. So, do these little shimmy, get them all tidied up. Phone died somewhere along in there, so I'm not sure what you got. But here's our first layer. It's looking good. I think it's going to be amazing. So I have to open this up, all 8 layers, and kind of match the creases all along. So I'm going to do that real quick, but first let me go show you the breadfruit tree before I forget, because as soon as I get this done, I kind of have to throw it in the suitcase and go home and get ready to go to the beach. So let me show you the breadfruit tree. Okay, well, we found a friend on the way. Hi, buddy. What you doing there? Getting a drink? Okay.
So this is the breadfruit tree, literally across from the shop, and I love these leaves. These are my favorite leaves, and look at that fruit. It's so cool. So I'm excited to be doing this quilt. Next to it is a plumeria that kind of just looks like sticks right now, but breadfruit is amazing.